I'm Yvette Abrego with Danziger De Llano, and this is my partner,
Larry Gates, also with Danziger De Llano. We help people get compensated for the terrible disease of mesothelioma and lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos. We're going to talk about the dangers of secondhand exposure today, Yvette. What do you think? And tell them, we've had a lot of clients that don't really realize they were diagnosed with mesothelioma, never worked in a trade or never worked in a refinery, but they came down with mesothelioma.
and most likely it's secondhand exposure if they didn't work directly with the asbestos.
That is correct. Secondhand exposure as opposed, give me an example, Yvette.
Examples can be like your husband went to work, he's a welder, pipe fitter, works in construction, comes home, has all this dust on his clothes, takes it off, takes a shower, you do his laundry, and just dusting off all that, dust from the laundry can get you, you inhale all those fibers, and it's just like you're being exposed,
It really is.
It's like you're working with it.
So the asbestos, there's no harm to be around asbestos unless it's been fooled with, unless it's been jacked with, and the workers have been working it all day, had been stirring it up, and it's been floating in the air where they're working all day, and it beds comes down in their clothes, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you have to understand too, right? Asbestos is like, you have to look at it under a microscope just to see it.
You can't see it.
Can't smell it.
And the fibers are so thin that when they breathe it in, it becomes embedded in their lungs, and no one knows you have it, and it sits there for 10 to 50 years.
Yeah.
And that's how come this mesothelioma is so deadly, because no one knows you. It's been doing its damage all those years.
Absolutely it has.
But I know you and I have had several housewives that have no clue how they got it, and then after questioning them,
right?
What did your father do for a living?
Yep. What did your mother do?
Grandfather?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that was around them while they were
working in a refinery, working as a welder, working in insulation, remodeling of homes. But isn't it strange that a housewife who's just worked at home all her life can wash her husband's clothes, who's been exposed to it every day, and she's getting just as much asbestos exposure or more than he was.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also, when it comes to the housewives, there's also the first-hand exposure of the talc powder.
Correct.
Right?
That's correct.
Johnson & Johnson talc powder.
Right.
The makeup had asbestos in it. Mary Kay.
Correct.
I mean, there's just so many things that had asbestos.
Yes.
Especially, like tissues. You wipe your face with tissues. You blow your nose. If you notice, have you ever went kind of moved the tissue around inside of, under the sunlight?
Yes.
You see all those little particles coming off?
Yes.
Well, back in the day, that was asbestos.
That's right. Yeah. And as a few days old, your mother would just soak you with that talcum powder, wouldn't
Absolutely.
It was they used it for all your kids, all the babies.
Everything.
And for a lot of different things.
Yeah, for sure. Blow dryers?
Yes.
You blow dry your hair, you're over there moving that blow dryer.
Right.
Those asbestos particles are coming loose.
Correct.
Of course, asbestos was used for fireproofing, so anything you wanted to fireproof, that is where the asbestos was.
I had a worker that contacted me a couple of years ago, and he was a fireproofer. He installed the fireproofing on the beams in the refineries in Pasadena and around the area, and it was just loaded with asbestos. He ended up dying of mesothelioma.
Wow, that's just such a shame.
From being a fireproofer.
Yeah, it's a shame. These people are going to work, working really hard for their families, and they end up with this rare and very aggressive terminal cancer.
Yes, it's still, there's no cure for it, is there, Yvette? No cure.
They have come up with better ways to treat it, but there's no cure.
Treatments are a lot better than what they used to, but it is still a deadly disease.
Yeah.
With very few live long. We've had a few in our law firm live for a few years. Huh? Some are still living.
Yeah.
But that's the exception to the rule.
Absolutely.
The treatments,
really
such as, they've come up with some new treatments, immunotherapy. The chemotherapy is a lot better than it used to be. Radiation is a factor, and if they're young enough, they catch it young, and you're healthy enough and early enough that they can remove the lung. But that's only just a certain few that qualify.
Yeah.
That they're able to do that.
Very true. I mean, the key is to try to diagnose it as soon as possible.
Have you ever had one of your clients said that the children was secondhand exposed and came down with mesothelioma?
There were some, absolutely. There were some clients that had their kids, actually got it as well. And at a younger age than themselves, because they were younger when, these people were bringing it home on their clothes, hugging their kids,
Yes.
I mean, it's so sad to see somebody with mesothelioma that's only 40 years old,
Can you believe it? Working hard and doing the right things, and at the age of 40, you come down with mesothelioma.
Wow.
Not good. I mean, the asbestos manufacturers knew what they were doing, and failed to warn their workers, and that's why there's $30 billion still set aside for mesothelioma victims.
Absolutely.
That's been going on now for many years, and there's still $30 billion available.
Wow.
A lot of people don't even know that exists.
That's true.
And you know what's kind of sad? I get calls, I know you have too, that people say they just now heard about it, about the asbestos trust and asbestos. People are being compensated for asbestos exposure, but they were diagnosed 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, I had one this morning call in that his dad was diagnosed with mesothelioma, but he passed away in 1990.
And what happens then? We can't help him. Why?
Because of the statute of limitations.
And the statute of limitations of that is usually
2 to 3 years, depending on the state.
2 to 3 years from death.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
Now, it's 2 to 3 years depending on which state you're in, right? And the litigation's been going on since the 70s.
Right.
So a lot of times there's really nothing that we can do because, I mean,
That's right.
we understand that there was no advertising, not the way it is today.
Right.
There's so much advertising.
So much, yeah.
So much, knowledge being put out there about asbestos and mesothelioma, lung cancer. And, it was not that way in the 90s. It wasn't that way in the early 2000s. I mean, I hadn't even heard of asbestos until I came to work here, 20 years ago.
Right.
And learning about it and reading about it and, listening to these clients over the years, it's so sad. My dad was a welder, and, that's the first thing I did, go home and, hey, Dad, maybe you should, see a doctor, because you were exposed to the asbestos, maybe that's why you're having a hard time breathing, but, older men, you know how they are. They don't like to go to the doctor, right?
True. My dad was 81 when he was diagnosed with mesothelioma. He was he was an athlete, a strong man. Hardly ever was sick a day in his life.
Wow.
And then he kept coughing, and of course he wouldn't go to the doctor. And then his side started hurting, and he was kneeling over, and my mom made him go to the doctor. And sure enough, he had worked at a refinery for over 20 plus years.
Wow.
Worked all over the refinery, instrument man, World War II vet. And once he was diagnosed, in 6 months, he became a human skeleton.
Wow.
They lose their appetite.
Yeah.
They can't eat. It's just a terrible thing to see your father or a loved one go through.
Absolutely. I mean, You know, it's one thing the patient going through all of that, you know, and then your caretaker is also going through so much. You know,
Yes.
because they're taking care of you, they're watching you, they're seeing you, you
Yep.
know, get to that stage, and it's just so sad.
So it is such I feel good what I do every day knowing that I'm able to help people get the compensation they need to help the family. At least the family can go on, the wives and the children can go on living their normal lives. They don't have to sell their home. They don't have to, it's been stressful enough
Oh, yeah.
to lose it,
Absolutely.
and then to have the financial stress. So we can, by doing what we do and help and our clients get compensated, it removes that financial burden from them.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. You know, and hopefully these videos that we're putting out, you know, they inform people, they educate people, and people can call us, ask us
Yes.
more questions, you know. They can always reach us at the number on the screen.
They certainly can. We're available 24/7.
That's right.
We're always open for business. We will never refuse a phone call, and that's why I think Danziger De Llano law firm has been so successful that we're always available to them.
Absolutely.
And make sure that we make sure they get their answers in a timely manner, and make sure that they know what's going on.
For sure. Let's keep all these people informed, Larry.
That's what we do, and that's our pact together.
That's right.
Yvette and Larry.
Yvette and Larry.
We're a team, and we help we help each other with each other's clients, and make sure that we go the extra mile to make sure they get what they deserve.
That's right. And they do deserve all the compensation they can get. All of the compensation they can get,
Yes.
because they are going through this horrible type of cancer, trying to provide for their families, exposed to this, you know, asbestos rock that was, you know, crushed up and put into all kinds of materials. Never did those manufacturers say, hey, if you're working with that asbestos, guess what?
Exactly. Beware.
It can cause cancer.
Nor did they, and that's why the United States set up the trust funds for all those corporations that knew of the dangers
Yeah.
and were file bankruptcy.
Yeah, now we're able to go after them.
Yes, indeed.
So call us today. Ask us more questions. We'll make more videos.
We hope you don't come down with Mesothelioma.
No.
But if you do, Danziger De Llano Law Firm is the one to call. We've been doing it over 30 years, and we've recovered over $2 billion for our clients and their families, and we love doing it.
That's right. Justice for all.